And the more that you do that, I believe, the better chance that you have on a cellular and DNA level. And then I have a negative ion device that goes on my bed. And it's underneath the sheets, and then that way I don't have to worry about washing it and everything else. It just is negative ions. And I have a magnetic mattress, far infrared comforter that I do every day, and I have to have the far infrared socks. And then normally I have a magnetic necklace on, but I loaned it to the UPS lady. Alrighty, so the GX Assist has a whole bunch. GX Assist has a whole bunch of heat shock proteins in it to facilitate and detoxification. Okay, then when you have a whole bunch of essential oils in that are mixed together, that's called a blend. So this is a GX Assist that's going to be in a very thick capsule. It's very thick, so it's basically time released when you take this. Okay, so it's in a time release. And then you get 2 bottles of Zendocrine. You get the blend liquid essential oil, and then you get the Zendocrine capsules. And this goes through 10 days, a 10-day regime where you're doing, different things every single day. You're not going to do the probiotics throughout this whole thing. You do the probiotics the last stage of this, which really makes sense. Let's cleanse and let's purge and let's detoxify basically the crap out of you, and then let's nourish and do the probiotics at the end of the 30-day cleanse. So that's one of the things that if you mess up and you're on your cleanse, you just get back on it. What people don't really understand is that stepladder effect. When you start to detoxify and you're going up those steps, and then something crashes and you go, oh boy, you take a couple steps up, you quit cleansing, and then you go back down. Okay, well, when you go back down, you have to take a look at that and you go, okay, my immune system fell, so what didn't I do to get me to fall down or crash, basically? And then what is going to help you to get back to those steps is basically getting back on that cleanse again and then staying on it. Again, this is going to be 30 days. Okay, so I can't say for you to do a 30-day cleanse or stay on something for 30 days. I'm going to stay on it for the rest of my life because I feel better, and I was one of those little kids that had really bad allergies. I had dark circles when I was younger. I remembered when I was 21 years old having really dark circles. I've always put on tons of foundation underneath my eyes to cover the dark circles. I still have a little dark in here, but underneath here was really, really, really dark, and I had to put foundation underneath there. And then once I started cleaning up my diet and detoxifying, the dark circles went away. In the summertime, at the end of the summer, yeah, I really wish to say that I don't have them at the end of the summer, but everybody's doing their lawns and spraying and chemicals and fire retardants and forest fires and the heat, coupled with the radiation from the sun, just making it more kind of cellularly induced because of the heat into the cells, and because the sun is radiating that stuff into you. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I have shades that come down, and I also have drapes, because I know that sometimes the sun is going through these massive solar injections that are kind of blinding, and people don't realize. They'll know later on, what's causing cataracts and what's causing some of these macular degenerations was people were not using a hat or wearing sunglasses during these high exposure days. Okay, so the Zendocrine, thank God it comes in the capsules. I don't like the way that it tastes when it's in the liquid form. So the Zendocrine has in it tangerine, grapefruit, juniper berry, rosemary, I think I said geranium. So it's one of those ones that just is not tasty to me. Like the DDR, to me, it tastes kind of like a martini. So I love it. It's like, ah. The Zendocrine it's the rosemary mixed. So it's tangerine, rosemary, geranium, juniper, cilantro. So they've changed this up a little bit. Tangerine, rosemary, I should remember this. Geranium, juniper berry, and cilantro. Okay, cilantro is an excellent heavy metal chelator. Juniper berry is excellent for kidneys and liver. It'll say skin in the book, but to me I go liver and kidneys. So anytime that you have something that is going to be a detoxifier, addressing the nervous system, a neuroregenerative, something that gets out toxins out of the body, okay, that's going to work on the brain, the nervous system. So cilantro helps chelate heavy metals out of the body, and a lot of people do chelation. Well, chelation is using EDTA, so that's kind of like chemotherapy. Oh, I'm going to go take chemotherapy. Let's not even go there. I'm just saying you're using EDTA, which is a chemical which would send somebody with the MTHFR gene mutation into next week, next month, maybe even. Whereas the other people that don't have problems, that can methylate that stuff out, don't have problems with that. They found out that the thallium that they give you before you have an MRI is it's not coming out of the body, some of these chemicals. It's radioactive. Yeah, and then they're igniting you and then putting you underneath a scanner. So yeah, they're finding out that that doesn't detoxify out of the body, like they said. Alrighty, so this is called the Cleanse and Restore Kit, and my friend got on this the other day, Stacy. And, and it also comes with lemon essential oil, so you're drinking a whole bunch of water between all these steps. And you basically take things 2 to 3 times per day. It's very simple, this cleanse. Body cleanse makeover. So I'm going to be doing this, and I invite anybody else. Oh, there was one that I also didn't go over. But I think that that's probably enough. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's everything. So, yeah. So, I think that you can kind of understand the detoxification process begins, and you get really far, and you get to this step, and then you go, well, I'm feeling good for a while, so I'm going to quit. And what happens when you quit is you can crash. Well, if you were feeling good, then you need to get back on track. Whatever you were doing during that time that was making you feel well, green drinks or sleeping well or using infrared saunas, drinking alkaline water, whatever it is, get back on it. Do your yoga, okay? And then if you're getting to a plateau, you may want to add something to bump that up. But I can tell you from crashing myself, from getting off of some things over the years, minerals, or I get off of my DDR, or I get off of using the saunas, I do not pretty much miss a day with the infrared sauna unless I do my Bikram yoga. And people used to ask me all the time, how often do you think that you should sauna? And I'm like, well, if you're outside and you're exposed to the pollution, I think everybody knows right now that, the air is polluted, the water is polluted, the food is polluted. I don't mean to be a downer, but, yeah. it's in our DNA. It's in baby's DNA, all these cancer-causing chemicals. So David Wolfe says that detoxification right now is more important than eating organic. And I want to do my green juices every day. I want to put something in water. I want to shake it. I want to go. I want to do my red drink. I want to do my green drink. I want to do my minerals. And if I'm doing these, I don't have to worry about eating all that food and preparing a whole bunch of food. I like to keep it real simple with that, but you know, I can't eat the bread and the cheeses and the doughs and canola oil. I'm absolutely, totally allergic to it. So I think that the people that are out there that watch this kind of understand this step-ladder effect, you know. And if you're using an infrared sauna, for instance, and you experience a cold or you get a little herpy or whatever, you know, your things are in the past, it doesn't mean that that's a bad thing and that your immune system is weakened. It may be actually addressing those. So sometimes people say, well, you know, I was using the sauna for 6 weeks and I got a cold. Well, yeah, there's germs out there. And sometimes it takes 6 weeks to address something that you've had in the past. I can tell you that as years have gone by, my arthritis is 100% gone. I can do splits. I have excellent range of motion, which I didn't before I bought the infrared sauna. If I couldn't turn my neck like this, I would have to turn around and look. I have excellent range of motion. Again, my ray nodes is 100% gone. You see the red in my fingers. If I was in this temperature back in the day, before infrared saunas, I would be cold. It's winter outside right now, but I have my infrared socks on. So if I would get cold, I would lose the color in my fingers, in my toes, and I would get earaches. Those are extremities. If I was cutting the lawn on a windy day and it was a little bit cold, I would lose circulation in my ears, and then I would have an earache. My fingers got really cold the other day, and several times recently in the last few years, and I still have color in my hands, which blows me away. These used to turn white. I had many people tell me all the time that I looked white as a ghost. I'm olive now, and it's bizarre, but I was really white. Again, I was one of those kids with this, you know, with the runny nose, and that probably, you know, also had to do with the MTHFR gene mutation as well. My body wasn't able to methylate out the toxins, so I was trying, you know, so I had infections in my nose. I'm sure that I had MRSA because Dr. Gerber told me that I needed to get my tonsils removed. I didn't have to get that done either. I started using an infrared sauna, drinking alkaline water, taking the right minerals, and just staying on track. And, you know, for me, I just like to sweat every day, whether it's doing the yoga or it's using the infrared sauna. That's going to be the best for me. Can I miss a few days? Absolutely. Do I feel like crap if I miss a week? No. But I feel much better once I get in that infrared sauna and I sweat again. I'm like, oh yeah, God, I feel so much better. So when you're in this MTHFR gene mutation, and there's other ones as well, so you don't have, there's so many people who are on meds for anxiety, sleep, depression, energy, that have this MTHFR gene mutation, where the meds are never going to address that. The only thing that really addresses this is getting rid of the toxins out of your body and the right nutritional supplements. So I'm one of those ones that can't take those things that people are trying to sell and get me on all these cleansers that have all these chemicals added, which are nutraceutical. And a lot of those people are saying, oh, you're just detoxifying, you need to get back on. Well, some of those people have this MTHFR gene mutation, and you're telling those people to get back on those products. And they're full of chemicals. So you have to be very careful when somebody has the MTHFR gene mutation. Migraines, fatigue, anxiety, sleeping problems. It's pretty much like a heavy metal type of disease, condition. Yeah, stay on track and Get some really good alkaline water, a shower filter. If you were to do one thing, I would say do a green drink every day. If you were to do a second thing, I would say do some really good minerals, because it's just not in the food anymore. I would also say to do an essential oil once per day, even if it's $13 for a bottle of lemon. I believe that the lemon is a major cleanser because it helps with air pollution. It may help with air pollution. It may help with cholesterol. It's a major antioxidant. The clove is going to be way more. It's like 13 million. So the clove compared to the lemon, but the lemon is going to taste much better than the clove, but you can mix those together and they can help each other, and that's where these blends come in. These blends come in for specific issues. So when people start to come in to use the infrared saunas, I like them to do one blend. I'm like, yeah, you know, the Zendocrine, the Slim and Sassy, the Digestozen, the DER, yeah, those are my top 4. And if I could get people to stay on track with those, drink really good filtered water, get yourself a shower filter so your organs, your kidneys, your lungs, your blood, your DNA, your red blood cells have a chance to hydrate when you take a shower or a bath, instead of working double time now because you have all these fluoramines and chlorines and chemicals that are in the water. And there's tons of pharmaceuticals and chemicals in that water. So when your water comes in, it doesn't mean to your house that's been treated by the city, it doesn't mean that there aren't tons of heavy metals in it. So, I mean, a shower filter, lungs, blood, brain, skin, hair, I'm telling you, I cut off my hair after bathing in this water for 4 months. 4 months thrashed my hair. So I just cut it all off. I went, you know, I'm not even going to try to fix this. It's dead now. And I'm telling you, it is dead from the water in Pittsburgh. All right. Or anywhere. I mean, really, it doesn't matter. At this point, they're using so many chemicals in the water. The city has to put chemicals in to raise the pH because the water cannot be acidic, because that's what rusts the pipes. So when you drink alkaline water, yeah, that's good for you, but they put chemicals in there to make it alkaline. And there are already tons of chemicals in there that are acidic. When you think of chemicals, yeah, there's alkaline chemicals and then there's acidic chemicals. So the water is acidic from all the chemicals and all the chlorine and all that stuff, and then they have to add these buffers to it, which are alkaline, but they're all chemicals. So every time that you take a shower, instead of your body being hydrated and getting a chance to renew, your body has to work to get rid of the chlorine, the fluoride, and the chloramines that are in the water. And each city has different chemicals in it. Some people have fluoride. You just, if you only knew the stuff that they were putting in that water, I know that you would get yourself a shower filtration system. Your hair, your skin, your lungs, you know, chlorine crosses the blood-brain barrier. So why would I take frankincense on a daily basis if I'm going to be taking a shower? It doesn't make sense. You got to get rid of the chemicals, people, and that's how you're going to detoxify. That's how you're going to have a chance to kind of work on some of these chronic conditions that people have, whether it's the MTHFR gene mutation, whether it's all the things that go along with that, whatever your reoccurrent issues are. Now, I cannot say that these products are going to be safe for everybody that has the MTHFR gene mutation, but I've never had anybody that has the MTHFR gene mutation say, I don't like doTERRA, ever. It just hasn't happened. Everybody loves it, and it's because it's clean. And yeah, there's generally regarded as safe essential oils, and then there's certified pure therapeutic grade to be free of herbicides, pesticides, and any other foreign contaminants, and they test the DNA. And if we're trying to work on the DNA, people, Why not take some stuff that hasn't been altered on a DNA level? After all that conventional food, and I'm going to finish with this. Okay, conventional food. There's a guy named Gabriel Cousins. Look up some of his videos. Okay, he has infrared saunas too at his place. And he had some epiphanies about the rainbow diet, about eating things from the rainbow and in right proportions. So you're doing some purples and some yellows and some different hues of colors every day to work on the full body. And what we know, David Wolf, me, naturopathic doctors, the ones that are still here, and a lot of other people, is that when you have a seed that's been genetically modified, okay, what they do is they take out a piece of it, a sliver, and they put in E. coli. Why do they put in E. coli into a genetically modified seed? So when the bug eats the tomato, let's just stick with tomatoes. So when the bug eats the tomato, guess what happens? The bug's supposed to die from eating that tomato. So if there is a fruit fly that's going to go eat that tomato, the E. coli is designed, what they say at least, to kill the bug. That's what they say. They also, in that E. coli, in that genetically modified seed, besides E. coli, which we all know is not good for the colon, and if you saw how quickly it spread, you would just not believe it. In the body, it doesn't spread that quickly. On a Petri dish, it's astronomical how it spreads. Okay. So, they also put in Miracle Grow. Okay, why? Why do they put in Miracle Grow? Those GX Assisted just opened up in my mouth. It took that long to have them open up. And I like them to open up in my throat, so I get them all the way down my throat, down my lungs, and into my stomach. That may not be good for somebody that's got asthma or something like that, but I've been taking these essential oils for a long time, so I feel as though that I can handle it. But those are kind of designed so they open up down deeper into your stomach, and it's kind of like a bomb. So if there is anything in there, they're like, whoa! I feel as though that I've got rid of any ne'er-do-wells that were in my body that shouldn't have been there. Okay, so the Miracle Grow beefs everything up. It's kind of like steroids. Okay, why do they give steroids to animals? To beef them up so they make more money per pound. And guess what happens to you? Yeah, beefs you up. All right. So the Miracle Grow is going to be like a steroid. Okay, pretty simple. That's the way I look at it. Many other people look at it like this. I've never heard anybody use some of my analogies, but that's the way that I look at it. Steroids. Okay, so they make more per pound. Let's see, they put in E. coli, Miracle Grow. Oh, and then Roundup. Roundup. Yeah. Well, why do they put in Roundup? Why do they slice out a piece of this seed from the tomato and put up Roundup? If they're already putting in E. coli, which they say they're doing that for the bugs, well, why would you need the Roundup? Isn't the E. coli going to blow up that bug's stomach? Isn't that enough? Well, no, they want to put in Roundup, so what they say is the bugs that eat the tomatoes die. Well, the ones that have survived have become superbugs. What is MRSA? MRSA is a staph that has genetically changed and has become a superbug. Okay? So it's not just staph or strep, now they have these superbugs, and I believe one of the reasons why they have the superbugs is because of those probiotics, too many mixed together, that form other things. And then we have all kinds of different funguses in the food, and we have all these types of grains that have been genetically modified with steroids, okay? Bacteria, that's what the E. coli is. The Miracle Grow is going to be the steroids, and then when you have the Roundup, that's going to be, to me, chemo. Yeah. All right, so what they say is that when you have these seeds and you eat the food that it has produced and then you cook it, that's really where the food becomes more carcinogenic. And I don't care what carcinogen. Okay, so when you have a carcinogen, that means that it's going to cause cancer, or it's a potential to cause cancer. And if you knew what the chlorine was in the water and some of the other chemicals, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff out there. This right here will filter out 90% of the chloroform when it's hot. So when you use this and you have hot water, it takes out 90%. It's very difficult to take chlorine out of the water when the water's hot because it becomes a gas. So this 90% of the chloroform, this will get rid of. This will take care of 99% if the water's cold. So there are many people that use this more cold than a real hot shower because they know that the filter is going to be more effective with the cold. So if you're taking really hot showers, taking out 90% of the chlorine that you're subjected to on a daily basis, I wonder if that's going to make a difference on your DNA. On a daily basis, your body doesn't have to work to get out the chloroform and the other, lead and fluoride and all kinds of other chemicals that are in the water and the pharmaceuticals and the herbicides, the Roundup and everything else. So, yeah, that's my sermon. Sorry I went on forever, but I wish I could get it done in 5 minutes. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why people choose organic. Love it, everybody. You can give me a call if you have any questions. You can go to 21andMe if you want to check out their saliva test. That would be the most important test that I would find out if you have. Besides getting your blood work done and a culture. Many people never get cultures, and they get all kinds of operations. They never even had a culture. It's like, how can you get something removed without getting the culture first to see if maybe you could get rid of the bacteria that is causing the issue to begin with? So, I did have my friend who had her 13-year-old get a culture, and they did find out, and this was in Reno, Nevada, that she had a deadly bacteria. And she's like, if I wouldn't have seen your video, I would have never thought to get a culture. And the one antibiotic that they told her to get on, which was a contraindication for the bacteria that she actually had. So if she wouldn't have said, no, before we take the antibiotic, I want to find out, I want to get a culture, she would have then had to take that antibiotic, and then she would have had to take a super antibiotic because it was going to be a contraindication for the bacteria that the child actually had. All right, that's probably enough. Love you, everybody. My name is Diane Underwood, and I'm here to be a blessing. And if you have any questions, I would love to, answer to the best of my ability. I am not a practitioner. I'm a practitioner of nothing. However, I've been helping people cleanse very successfully for about 18 years. And I do train physicians how to use the infrared saunas if they take the time to do so. And yeah, give me a call. I'd love to talk to you and chat. Hope this helps.